When it was announced that Meghan Markle would be appearing on Jimmy Kimmel Live, the buzz was immediate and intense. After her dramatic exit from royal duties and her polarizing public appearances, everyone was eager to see how she'd handle herself in the unpredictable, often cheeky environment of late-night TV. It was meant to be a casual chat, a little PR charm, and maybe a laugh or two. But what unfolded shocked the live audience and left viewers stunned. From the very beginning, there was a sense that this interview would be anything but ordinary. Meghan walked onto the stage with grace and poise, greeted warmly by Kimmel and the crowd. She smiled, waved, and sat down ready to speak her truth, or so it seemed. Jimmy began with harmless banter, complimenting her outfit and joking about the challenges of parenting. Meghan laughed along, but her tone shifted when the conversation steered toward the royal family. "You've made a lot of headlines," Jimmy said, "especially with that Oprah interview." Meghan's smile tightened. "Yes, because speaking your truth makes people uncomfortable," she replied, and from there, the energy changed. Jimmy tried to lighten the moment by cracking a joke about Buckingham Palace having poor Wi-Fi, but Meghan wasn't laughing. "We're not here to mock, Jimmy," she said, firmly. The audience chuckled awkwardly, unsure whether to support the host or the guest. Meghan leaned in and added, "There's a big difference between comedy and disrespect." The tension was palpable, and Jimmy attempted to pivot, asking about her Netflix projects. Meghan answered, but her responses were clipped. She wasn't there to promote, she was there to make a point, and it was clear she wasn't backing down. As the interview continued, Jimmy brought up public criticism Meghan had faced. He mentioned the backlash to her statements about mental health and her portrayal in the media. Meghan visibly stiffened. "Why is it that a woman speaking up is always labeled dramatic or manipulative?" she asked. The crowd murmured in agreement, and Jimmy quickly added, "I didn't mean it that way." But Meghan pressed on. "Intent and impact are different, Jimmy." The atmosphere had grown thick with unease. This wasn't going to be the smooth late-night appearance the producers had planned for. Then Jimmy made a critical mistake. In an attempt to create levity, he asked if Meghan had ever thought of starting a podcast called Royal Pain. It was a joke, but not one that landed well. Meghan looked at him, visibly irritated. "You think this is all for entertainment? The pain, the hate, the threats, I've lived it," Jimmy stammered, trying to explain it was all in fun, but Meghan interrupted him. "Fun for whom?" she asked sharply. It was the kind of moment that made everyone in the room sit up a little straighter. Something serious was unfolding. Live. Meghan's tone became more direct. "I'm tired of being the punchline," she said. "I didn't come here to be laughed at. I came here to be heard." Jimmy, flustered, apologized but also defended himself, saying, "This is a comedy show. We joke about everyone." Meghan nodded slowly and replied, "Then maybe everyone should think more carefully about who's being hurt by the jokes." It was a powerful moment, and while some in the audience applauded, others were left stunned into silence. Kimmel looked toward his producers off-camera, likely wondering how to get the conversation back on track. Still attempting damage control, Jimmy tried to pivot to her charity work, but Meghan wasn't interested in changing the subject. "Let's not sugarcoat it," she said. "People are uncomfortable because I challenge norms, and rather than listening, they mock." Her voice was calm, but the intensity in her words was undeniable. Jimmy replied with a faint smile, "Well, I think people are just trying to understand you better." Meghan snapped back, "You don't understand someone by making jokes about their trauma." The audience gasped, and at that moment, the temperature on set dropped even further. The conversation derailed completely when Jimmy asked, "Do you think you've ever misread the public?" Meghan raised her eyebrows. "You mean, have I ever failed to play the part people scripted for me?" "No, Jimmy, I never agreed to that script in the first place." The line drew audible reactions. Meghan was not here to be polite or entertaining as she was confronting a platform that, in her view, had too often participated in her character assassination. She wasn't rude, she was precise, and that made the clash even more striking. Jimmy, now clearly feeling the pressure, offered to wrap up the interview early, suggesting they take a quick break. But Meghan stood up. "No need. I think this conversation has run its course." She unclipped her mic and handed it to a crew member. The audience didn't know how to react. Applause, silence, gasps. Meghan gave a polite nod to the crowd, looked at Jimmy one last time, and simply said, "Do better." Then she walked off the stage, calm and composed. It was one of the most dramatic walk-offs in recent television history. Jimmy returned from the break alone. He tried to joke about Ida, something about booking therapy for guests next time, but his usual charm couldn't diffuse the situation. Social media exploded instantly. Some viewers criticized Meghan for being too sensitive, others praised her for standing up against the media narrative. Hashtags like #MeghanSpeaks and #KimmelClash began trending. Clips of the walk-off were shared millions of times within hours, with debate raging about who was in the right. One thing was certain, and nobody would forget this interview. Behind the scenes, rumors swirled that Meghan's team had given Kimmel's producers clear guidelines, warning them not to joke about the royal family or her mental health struggles. Whether those warnings were ignored or misunderstood remains unclear, but Meghan's reaction showed that something had clearly crossed the line. Kimmel's camp released a neutral statement saying they appreciated Meghan's time and that sometimes emotions run high in honest conversations. But it didn't stop the firestorm from growing. Everyone had an opinion, and they were eager to share it. In the following days, Meghan addressed the incident subtly during a panel appearance. She said, "Every platform is an opportunity to uplift, to educate, or to tear down. I choose to walk away from the latter." The message was clear without being direct. It was a firm yet graceful way to reclaim control of the narrative. Meanwhile, talk show hosts everywhere began reviewing how they handled sensitive guests. Meghan's exit had ripple effects far beyond that one episode. It was a wake-up call for late-night media to reconsider where the line between humor and harm lies. Support poured in from allies and celebrities. Serena Williams tweeted, "Proud of you, Meghan. Keep speaking truth." Minty Kaling, Ava DuVernay, and others praised her composure under pressure. On the flip side, tabloid media had a field day, spinning the story in every possible direction. But Meghan remained unfazed. She had faced worse and endured bigger storms. This wasn't about a show, it was about reclaiming space in a world that often decides who gets to be heard and how. And Meghan wasn't asking anymore, she was taking that space, unapologetically. Kimmel's ratings surged from the viral episode. But at what cost? Many questioned if pushing Meghan into uncomfortable territory was worth the fallout. Jimmy eventually addressed it again during another episode, saying, "Sometimes things go sideways. I respect Meghan and wish her well." But some viewers felt it was too little, too late. Others said it was enough. The incident sparked widespread conversations on how media treats outspoken women, especially women of color. Meghan had struck a nerve, and in doing so, sparked reflection even among her critics. In the end, Meghan Markle walking off Jimmy Kimmel's show wasn't just a moment of TV drama. It was a statement, a reminder that not everyone will smile and nod when treated unfairly, that walking away isn't weakness, it's power. And as the world keeps talking about that night, one thing is clear. Meghan wasn't kicked off because she lost control, as she left because she refused to give it away. And for many watching, that was more powerful than any joke or headline could ever be.